All right, head coach Brian Green joins us today. The Cougs head to Dixie State for a 4-game series beginning Thursday. Coach, we have a couple questions on the line. It'll be first question is going to come from Jamie Vinnick and Coug fan. Go ahead, Jamie.
Hey, Coach. One of the big things that stood out about your weekend series was kind of, despite all the power in the middle of your lineup, Manzardo, Peterson, et cetera, two of the guys that really stood out, Brady Hill and Kyle Russell. Can you talk about their approach a little bit?
Great athletes. Kyle's he's a huge recruit. He's he's the number one player in the state, or the top 3 player in the state coming in, and just a tremendous athlete. I know people have got him popped up there in the first round projection as a junior, but Kyle he's a great player, and he came out and just wasn't scared, played like a good player, put the bat on the ball. He chased a little bit being a freshman, but played unbelievable defense. But I think, with regards to Kyle and Brady, it was pretty fun going with a 9-1 with those guys, or 8-9 with those guys. They're both so athletic. They're both so fast. Their approach is to put the ball in play and to get running on the bases. And I think Kyle had 2 doubles and a triple. And, Brady's a tremendous athlete, and he's got such a huge upside. If we can get him to just continue to develop into a real offensive player, he's got a chance to be pretty special here down the road. He's just got to continue to work and grind and learn the game a little bit better. But he's doing a good job, and he certainly had a nice weekend. The 2 of them leading the team in hitting after weekend 1.
You talked about it in the preseason, having that ability to go 1 through 9 in your lineup. Was that kind of what you saw happening this week or this weekend? Was kind of that idea that you had of being able to really get production from Colden down to Hill and Manzardo, or Hill and Russell at the bottom?
Yeah, Jamie, that there's no doubt about that, and that's a challenge that we have, is just to lengthen that lineup, and I said that last week, and it's just something that we're going to continue to really grind to do. We got almost every position player in last week, and there were a few guys that didn't get in, but we were really happy with for the most part the guys that we were able to get in. But we just want to lengthen it. If we can get Cody to cut down on his strikeouts, which he can tend to be up and down a little bit, but he started off awesome, and then he got into a little bit of a rut in the second half of the series. But with Hill, with Russell, and then obviously we've got some thump. We really like that TP and Manzo and Vandy and Montez. And then Meyer even had a pretty nice offensive weekend. It's 1 through 9. It was a pretty competitive lineup. Keith Jones, the freshman, he got in. We really like his potential offensively, and we just got to find a way to get him on the field somewhere. And good problem to have for us going 3-1 over the opening weekend was it's tough to get him in. I mean, Brady's hitting .417, and Vandy's getting on base, and Colin had a 1-to-1 ratio. In fact, it was plus with HBP. So, those outfielders were getting on base, and then TP and Manzo they had a really nice weekend.
You talked about before the season as well, you were kind of wanting to shore up some of your defensive catching concerns. What did you think of that this weekend? I know Jake had a couple pass balls in the first game, but how did you think it all played out?
Jamie, I think it kind of played out the way that it's been for us. It's not as tight as it needs to be. Our catching is fine. We have good players, but when we have some stuff on the mound, and some of our guys can be challenging to catch, but if you're going to catch, you've got to be able to keep the ball in front of you. And I thought Jake actually caught pretty well. He did a pretty good job. One of the biggest plays of that game 3, the comeback win for us in the suspended game, was a strikeout that he picked clean down in the dirt. It was a really big play, but I thought Jake caught the best of any of them. I thought Gabe was average. That Jacob was okay, and Louis got the biggest arm, and they were okay. But I thought it shook out kind of the way that it's been. We've got 4 guys that can catch, and TP could even make 5. We just want to make sure that position is as airtight as it should be.
And then what did you think of the team's overall pitchability throughout the 4-game series?
Ours?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought our guys did a good job. Obviously, Zane and Brandon were really sharp. Newstrom was sharp out of the pen. He did a really good job. Ethan Ross came in and did a nice job. Barrison was good at times. Trying to think who else that really Bryce. Calber was a really nice show. I thought Mickey did a great job in his 1 inning. Will was okay, but all in all, and I know if you look at our numbers, you're like, we had some HBPs. Obviously, we want to get that short up a little bit. We gave up a little too many hits. We were up in the zone. Dakota was excited, and he was up in the zone. And I think he'll learn from that outing because he didn't walk anybody, and he does a good job of that. But I thought our pitchability was okay. I think Coach Clags would probably put a C+ on it. I thought if you look at the whole body of work, we scored runs. We got on base. That's a good thing. Well, we struck out too much at the plate. And on the mound, we gave too many free bases away. So, as we move into a quick dust off here in Pullman, we'll go practice here in about an hour and then get on the plane tomorrow again. Those are the things that we're going to have to improve on going into Dixie.
Great. Thanks, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Jamie.
All right, Coach. Next question's from Scott Hood and Rivals. Go ahead, Scott.
Hey, Coach. Before the season, you mentioned that two of the jobs that were really up for grabs were second base and the third outfield spot.
Well, yeah, I think, Scott, you just went mute. Are you done there?
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, and if it was pretty amazing, to be quite honest, Scott. We love Brady and we love Kyle, and but Kyle, we give him the start on opening day and he lights it up. Brady does the same thing, and and that was really one of those things where if you showed well, you were going to get another opportunity, and if you showed well, you were going to get another one, and they put us in a spot where we couldn't take them out of the lineup, but we still feel like that. We've got you've got Goldsmith and you've got Clifford, and in the outfield we have we've got Swartz, you've got Tomasi, you've got Stan Cato. I mean, it's still really, the next 3 weeks, we're going to continue to do that. But obviously Russell's a really good player. He showed really well. We just moved him over to second base literally 2 weeks ago. And he's turning the double play like he's been doing it all his life. So pretty impressive stuff coming from a freshman this weekend.
Does anything that Kyle Manzano does at this point, does it surprise you at all? Or is this pretty much what he does is pretty much what you expect every day from him?
Yeah, he's creating some expectations of putting barrel on ball quite a bit and doing it hard. He hit one of the hardest balls I've ever seen. And Gonzalez would do that at State. But Manzo hit a line drive up the middle that was just blistered over the weekend. But no, he's a heck of a hitter, left on left, right on left, in, out, down, up. He kind of covers it. So really, really beneficial to see TP getting going. And all of a sudden we started feeling that where, you're sticking Manzo in the 2-hole to ensure that he's going to hit early in the game. And if our 9-hole is going, I love that 2 spot for your best hitter personally. But with TP coming out and hitting 350 for the weekend with him behind Manzo, it's a pretty nice problem that we've got going right now with our lineup. So, but no, Scott, to answer your question, man, he just continues to get better. Again, he puts in the work. He's strong. His body's changed a lot. And he's learned how to hit. He's got an approach. I don't really have to talk too much approach with him. He really pays attention at a high level.
What's the biggest adjustment, following up on Tristan, the biggest adjustment that Tristan was going to have to make going from the WAC with Mexico State to the Pac-12 with Washington State in terms of the type of quality of pitching or whatever adjustments he's going to have to make at the plate?
He's a pretty good hitter at State, and I mean, he torched, although it's midweek, but that was what gave us a lot of confidence, in wanting him here. And that's why so many teams across the country wanted him was, with us in 19, I'd love to look at his batting average, but I know that against Washington, Arizona State, he had no issues with any of that pitching. Velocity is a little bit different, but really not stuff, Scott. It's just the number of it. The bullpen's different, obviously, in the WAC. The Pac's going to have 97.8. You might see 95 in the WAC. I think the biggest thing that of any of those conferences, and I've been in so many of them, is just the depth. There's a nice arm, but there's not 5 or 10 of them, and I think that's the biggest difference is the amount of quality that you see. So for TP, he had to tighten his swing up a little bit when he got here, but he's off to a really nice start.
Obviously, Zane and Brandon are still 1-2 in the starting rotation based on their performances last weekend. They certainly earned that. Any decisions regarding 3 and 4 for this upcoming series, or are you going to go with Will again at 3 and whoever else had at 4?
Yeah, we'll have Dakota will still remain in the rotation, and we'll most likely put Will. We'll announce that here in just a little bit, but Will will probably go to the bullpen just for this weekend, and not a demotion by any stretch. He pitched pretty competitive. Just where we are right now, those 4-game series are a bear, and so it's really having to try to kind of find out who can throw twice, who can bounce back. Will can do that. And just given where we were this weekend, when we got to game 4, we're going to make an adjustment and probably look at Ethan Ross or Mickey Thompson and put a left-hander into that rotation as well, and give the opponent a little bit of a different look. Ross was what he came in and did was really impressive. He comes in and it's really hairy, and we just scored 3 after Jack's 3-run homer with 2 strikes. And next thing you know, it's first and second, nobody out. And here comes Ross up 2, and he gets a punch out, a ground out, and a pop up. And it was pretty heady stuff out of him. So he's been there before too. We like, especially early in the year, we love to see guys who have experience.
You guys obviously returned to Pullman after the UC Davis series. Did you give any consideration at all because St. George is close to Las Vegas, staying down there for the few days, or instead of coming back, or what thought process, maybe besides cost, was there involved in coming back to Pullman as opposed to staying down there? Yeah,
good question. Honestly, Scott, it makes sense to stay down there, but for us being on the road 6 straight weeks. We need to take some breaks, because we are going to do that as we move into conference play. When we go to Corvallis, we actually go to Vegas for a double midweek, and then we'll take on over to Arizona State. Right. So given that we're going to do 2 weeks in a row, it was a pretty fatiguing weekend, to be quite honest. I know it's opening weekend, and, we weren't physically exhausted, but mentally, it was pretty draining. We ended up playing 2 double headers. When you're taking BP at 9:30 in the morning, and out there all day, especially for us, coming out of, we just haven't been outside. So that was for us was, let's just get into our own bed for a day or 2. Let's get a couple of good lifts in. Let's just return to normal, take a blow, and then we'll hit the plane again. So that was the thinking on that.
What's the scouting report on Dixie State?
They're going to be good. It's a little bit of a scary schedule, but we know we're going to have good weather in St. George. But Dixie's coming into the WAC. It's going to be similar to Cal Baptist when they entered into the WAC. Cal Baptist's first year, they had a co-championship with us at New Mexico State, and they're going to be good. They're 15-3 last year. They returned some velocity. They returned some power in the middle of the order. They're going to be well coached. They've been very successful at the Division II level, and I would not be surprised at all to see them have success in year 1 in the WAC. It's a good program, and they're going to be physical. They're going to be older. There's some velocity. They're going to left, right you on the mound. They'll skill it up at the top and bottom. It's a well-coached program. So it's 2,700 feet, so it's going to be offensive, which as a hitting coach, I'm looking forward to that. It'll be a natural surface field, and it's a nice stadium. We should have great weather. So it's going to be a nice, challenging series, to be quite honest, and something that we have to make sure that we're prepared for, no question.